And no, these are not braids. These are micro locks. Micro locks, all right? I have not braided my hair in over a decade. This is all my hair. It's all mine. I do it myself. Every month I tighten it. I wash it myself. I just thought I'd mention that because I always snigger when radiologists tell me, oh, can you please put your, okay, not black ones because they can recognize the locks, but can you please put your hair up because the fake fibers show up on the scan. It's not fake fiber. It's all mine. It's my hair. I'm a natural hair fanatic. So this is naturally mine. But okay, that's not what I was going to talk about, but it is part of it. It kind of matches. It goes in, it fits because it's about radiologists, radiographers, whatever they are. But yes, medical gaslighting. That is one of research. I'm not going to tell you who's researched it. Go find it yourself. But research has shown that women are more likely to suffer through or go through medical gaslighting than men. Black women are obviously always going to be less believed than white people. That's just how it goes. So medical gaslighting could be questioning my honesty, questioning my memory, trivializing what I'm feeling, not listening to what I'm saying, making me feel like I'm crazy, making me doubt myself, belittling or disregarding my feelings. Yeah, that's part of gaslighting, or using negative stereotypes against someone. So if you think or have heard or have seen that black people go around looking for opioids, and I come to you as a black person and I say I'm in pain, if you use a negative stereotype against me, you will immediately think, oh, just another black woman wanting some opioids to get high on. It's very dangerous. It's actually, being gaslit can lead to extra years of suffering, like what happened to me, and can lead to death. So yes, here's my story of medical gaslighting. So I was born a premature baby, and my first memory ever, my first memory was of myself at 3 years old, lying in a hospital bed alone. And then my dad comes in, and my mom, but my dad comes in and they're picking me up from the hospital bed. And as my dad picks me up under the shoulders, like you're picking up a child and you pick them under the shoulders, those stitches that I'd had recent op on my inguinal hernia, when it's on the side. Yes, I had that. When he pulled me up, the weight, it stretched, and I just remember myself groaning and crying. That was my first memory. So I've always been not well. And then fast forward, and for whatever reason, I just didn't ever express my suffering to my parents. So when I was a child, I would keep quiet. I would walk from school and I would have this burning pain. And because I used to see adverts on TV about heartburn, I thought it was just nothing, like you just take a Tums or whatever antacid that we used to have back in the 80s, and then I'd be fine. I didn't realize that I was really not well. And I would hide it. I'd never said anything, rather. And I remember sometimes I'd be in bed at night and my legs would be in excruciating pain. I would clutch them. And the pain was so, when pain is so bad that you can't cry. Like women who've given birth, that pain, it's beyond crying pain. That is what I felt like. I'm probably age 5, 6. And I don't remember it, but at age 7, my mother told me, she's late, she died in June, that I had my first colonoscopy at age 7. I do remember the prednisone tablets, but she's very sure that the gastroenterologist who did it said that I've got Crohn's disease, which is, I don't know, because I've never exhibited any Crohn's signs, symptoms, etc. So I'm not sure what that story is, but I did have enough pain that eventually a test was done, a scope was done, and there was something seen inside me. Time went on, and then I started fainting because I had low iron deficiency, anemia. I've forgotten the terminology, but anyway, it was anemia, chronic low iron deficiency anemia. My dad would chop up liver all the time. Imagine you're in primary school in this rich white school. I had to say white school because we weren't allowed to be with fellow white children, and some other private schools refused to take me because they were white, except this particular school, Micklefield Girls' School. Woohoo! Micklefield agreed to take me. They were an independent school, and they did not obey the law. Our school song, or rather when we sang at the end and the beginning of the term, we didn't sing Distem, which is the Afrikaans national anthem of those days. We sang Nkosi Sikelel' iAfrika. That's all I knew. And our parents, as many can attest or can testify, our parents, not all our parents, spoke to us about what we were living. So then my parents never told me that, wow, your school is very progressive. How can a whole white teachers and white pupils sing Nkosi Sikelel' iAfrika when it is illegal? Like illegal. And we were singing that. But it was my norm. That's all I knew. So at that point I had asthma, and I was just always sick, always going for tests, always seeing the pediatrician, always had an asthma pump, always had blood tests done. I was always sick. Maybe standard 9, what they call now grade 11. I eventually went to see a doctor because my fingers would swell so much that just curling them this much would be impossible. They were swollen, the skin would be swollen, the joints would be stiff, so much that I couldn't hold a pen. And my toes, my feet would be so painful, burning, stiff, sore, that when I tried to walk, my high school friend would tell me, why are you walking like an old lady? Because I was hobbling on painful feet and trying to avoid the painful parts or the painful bones. At that point, they told me I had juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. Here's one thing that you need to know now, in case you're from the old school like me. I'm 43 years old, by the way. So I'm 43 years old. So this was back then. Juvenile rheumatoid arthritis is not the same as rheumatoid arthritis. And that was the thing, because when I grew older, all they did at that time was just give me anti-inflammatory gel to put on my knees, my hands. That was it. There's no further treatment for me. So I just had to live with it, and it only flared in winter. And so that was that. I just knew that I've got rheumatoid arthritis. And when I became vegetarian in 1999, the symptoms kind of, they went down. I didn't have as much of it wasn't as bad. Yes, they would still get sore. Yes, there were times later on that I couldn't even hold my iron to iron because they were so stiff and painful. But it wasn't as bad when I went vegetarian. Then here we come. Sorry for the long story, but I needed to explain that. I think also part of it is that I was so used to being sick that I dismissed being dismissed, if that makes sense. I just thought, well, I'm just an unwell person. I think that was it. It was just a matter of, well, I now have IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. My colon is what they used to call then a spastic colon, so it just cramps up, just out of the blue. So I had all these different issues: the blood with the anemia, the swelling, the bones, the joints, then the stomach. And so I just, 2011 was the first time I went to a doctor, and I said, I'm actually suffering. I'm struggling. It feels like where my sacrum is, or my coccyx, there is extreme pain there. Something is not right. I'd gone through my 20s, I had some jobs, and my back would just not work out. And I just thought, okay, I've got arthritis in my back. That's what it is. I've got arthritis in my back. But rheumatoid arthritis, it doesn't make sense because my fingers weren't bending, they weren't looking like what I've seen rheumatoid arthritis does to people. So I would tell people that, okay, I need help when I'm looking for a helper. I need help. I've got arthritis in my back, so I can't do the ironing. Can you please do it for me? But 2011, I was sitting on a bike, a treadmill, an exercise bike, and I felt this sharp pain where I would say my coccyx is. And that was when, as I said, I went to look for help. You know, the GP sent me for an MRI. That is where it just, let's put it this way. I had an MRI 2011. The report written by the radiologist/radiographer, you can correct me at the bottom in the comments, if I allow comments. You can email me. They said there's absolutely nothing wrong with this person. The GP who sent me for the MRI read the report and said, oh, it says there's nothing wrong with you. It must be functional back pain. Your core muscles must be weak. Your ab muscles must be weak. You should do physio. You should see a biokineticist. They will teach you how to move properly. And I'm like, no, I know it's not. It can't be. So I didn't go for a while, but it became sore. I went to a physio, and that didn't work. Well, she only had 2 visits. One visit to tell me what exercises to do. The second one to tell me, okay, I've told you what to do. I won't go into why I think she just sent me away. I won't even go into that because it's a supposition. Maybe she does that to all patients, even those who are like her and not brown like me. I don't know. But she sent me away, and she had barely touched me. I think that's the other reason why I'm leaning to being the reason why she sent me away. She was in Somerset West. But anyway, so that was number 1. You're fine. It's in your head. It's your muscles. They're weak. It's not your back. And so time went on. 2015 again, the pain had now increased in intensity, and it was just always there. Especially after I exercised. You know, when I'm exercising, it wouldn't be that bad. But afterwards, and when I'm trying to go to the shops, it would be so bad. I couldn't finish our grocery shopping without leaning over and trying to get the weight off my back, you know, lower back. Yeah. I had another MRI 2015 after I'd seen an orthopedic surgeon. Same thing. The radiologist or radiographer, whatever they are, wrote in the report, there's nothing wrong with this person's lower back. I had x-rays. Nothing wrong with this person's lower back. They are fine, just maybe, you know, decreased disc height and all. But I knew there was something wrong. I knew it. But hey, I can't help myself. And that was a sad thing. I can't look inside myself. And here's the other thing. Please ask your doctor if they have looked at your images or if they've just read the MRI. Because if they're just reading the report, if they've read the report only and not looked, then it's not the same. Go to a rheumatologist. Find a rheumatologist. That's another story. They're so hard to find. If I'd known about rheumatology, I wouldn't have had all this. So if you've got a bone pain problem, don't go only to an orthopedic surgeon. Find a rheumatologist. No, 2 of my rheumatologists looked at my actual images, and they could see that actually there was something there in 2011. There was something. My SI joints were inflamed already in 2011. Already in 2011, there were signs of what we now know is ankylosing spondylitis. I was not okay. I had bone marrow edema, which is basically swollen bone marrow. There was clear inflammation, especially in my right side. But that was 2023. So my point was, let me go back. Please, if you really believe you are really suffering from pain, find as many professionals in your particular sphere, or wherever your pain may be. Look around and ask them to look at your images, please, and ask for different kinds of images. If it's bone pain, ask for a bone scan. I'm so stupid. In 2013, I think, I sent my father for a bone scan, which found loads and loads of arthritis, but it never dawned on me to have a bone scan for myself also. So if you've got bone pain, please get a bone scan. That was advice number 2, 3, I don't know. Okay. And then we time moves on, I see a different physiotherapist. Now, physiotherapists are good in their place, but if they don't know what the problem is, then they're not good. So this poor young, very helpful, he really tried his best. But he then made me walk around in the mall, which was very embarrassing. And he would observe me and see how I walk. And he told me, oh, the reason why your lower back is sore is because your hips are not swaying as much as they should be. Your hips are not moving. There's not much, basically, he was saying they're not as mobile as they should be. So you must swing your shoulders more as you walk so that your hips move more. That was trivializing or minimizing the problem. The question should have been, why are my hips not as mobile as they should have been? If we had searched for the answer for that question back then, which was now 2019, imagine all these years I'm spending all this money to try and figure out why my pain is increasing. IBS itself comes with insomnia, lack of sleep. It comes with pain. And now this bone pain was increasing and increasing, especially at night. I couldn't sleep. I craved and needed sleep. I mean, as I said, from childhood, I was in pain, my abdomen, my legs. So I haven't slept, I don't know, I haven't slept. For I've not had a solid year of sleep that I can think of. So yes, when someone tells you this is wrong, maybe you should find out why that is wrong. It's not your fault, because that was what I was told. It's my fault. I'm not swaying my hips enough. So I must move more like this when I'm walking in the shop. That's what I was told. And then we come to 2021. The bone pain had now, I'd given up. This time I'd given up on my lower back. It was, no one was helping me. Everyone was telling me it's my fault. I saw a chiropractor. She told me, oh, you've got hip pain because you're probably carrying your toddler on your hip. Again, it's my fault. It's not your fault most of the time. It is not your fault that you've got chronic pain generally. Of course, some of it is, but if a professional doesn't look for the why and immediately moves on to it's something you are doing, find a different professional. And I didn't do that. I just believed this chiropractor. Well, I didn't believe her. I knew she was lying. But I didn't then ask a different chiropractor, what do you think could be the cause of this pain, especially in this area? I hope you can't hear that noise. If you can, I'm sorry. It's the children outside. I'm not going to stop because there's always an interruption. There's always going to be an interruption. So that was the chiropractor. Another big fail. And then I saw what's it called? GP. Now my shoulders had started becoming sore. And my left heel, more around the back going up, where I think your Achilles tendon is, that was now sore. And if I stepped on it, it was more sore. So I went to the GP, both GPs that I saw, because it's a medical center, so, and sometimes the woman GP I saw wasn't there. The GPs I saw, thank you. They took me seriously. They believed me, which is so important, at least to be believed, instead of them acting like you're just faking the pain. It already makes such a big difference. If you are a doctor who believes your patients, even if you might actually be giving the benefit of the doubt to the wrong patient, thank you. We thank you. You are truly our stars, especially if you're like me, where your other family doesn't care. So I went for help there. They tried their best to try and figure out what the pain was. The one doctor tried to do cortisone injections into my shoulder, and he couldn't get the needle in. So he'd like try, inject, kept pulling the needle out and getting it back, trying to get it into the joint. I wanted to just say, okay, you know what, just stop. But I didn't want to make him feel bad. And the poor man started sweating. He started sweating from the effort. He took off his coat. And he was saying, I'm sorry, I don't understand why I can't get the needle between your joint, like into your joint. It's like maybe it's calcified. Boop, if only we knew that was a sign. So I went anyway, and I gave up. and I went to see an orthopedic surgeon. Here's a thing. If you are black, you speak a black language. isiXhosa, isiSotho, Sepedi, Setswana, is it Xitsonga? I'm not sure how to pronounce that one. Venda, you speak isiZulu, you speak black language if you're black, generally. Obviously, you speak English. Well, not obviously, but you might speak only English. That's just the way it is. But black people are not Afrikaners, like descendants from the Dutch, who then came and changed the language. We are not Afrikaners. I should have turned away and left the very moment the doctor, who is white Afrikaner, looked at me, Tandi, and spoke to me in Afrikaans. I understand Afrikaans. I did it in high school. I had no choice. We had no choice back then. We had to study Afrikaans as our second language, whether it was our second language or our fourth or our fifth or not. We had to study Afrikaans. So I knew Afrikaans and actually loved the language. So I knew what you were saying, but I should have left. If the person does not see you, who you are, leave. So I went in and he didn't even sit down. I should have also then left. He didn't sit down. It was like I'm there to waste his time. I told him I've got shoulder pain, and when I lift my shoulders, I hear cracking sounds. And I've got heel pain, and he didn't ask how long the pain has been going on. He didn't ask what exacerbates the pain. He didn't ask if there's anything that reduces the pain. He didn't ask anything. He told me, this guy, Afrikaner guy in Durbanville, he told me that, oh, I also get shoulder pain sometimes. Leave. If someone is belittling you or disregarding you, leave. They're not worth your money. In fact, tell them, you know what? This is not even a consultation. I'll give you maybe half the money, but you're pathetic. Tell them they are pathetic. So he told me that I must do some exercises like shrug my shoulders. And yeah. And if maybe I still have a problem there, maybe he'll x-ray my shoulders, maybe. He was basically saying you'll be fine after 6 weeks of doing these exercises. And he totally ignored the fact that I was also telling him I've got heel pain. I think that was the worst medical gaslighting experience I've had because of how rude he was, but not seeing who I am. At least greet me in English. Everyone in South Africa should at least know English because you came with it and brought it here. So we had no choice but to learn it. So speak to me in English and listen to me and ask me questions and ask me, is there any other pain anywhere else? If he had heard about my lower back pain and, we could have put those together. I didn't know. I'm not a doctor. But those things actually all go together. But he didn't. So I wasted my time and my money and my fuel going to see a useless specialist. Those GPs were worth 10 of the kind of specialist he was. And so 2021 again, a total bust. And I've still got that pain today, but at least now I know what it is and I will move forward from that. But I just wanted you, please, when someone tells you something that doesn't match how you are feeling, get another opinion when you can afford it. And I know that's part of the problem. We can't afford it. That is the sad thing. We can't afford it. But if we can, get another opinion. Find friends. Like I have friends who they fully believed me. They believed me when I said I wasn't paying. Some people would trivialize it and say, oh, I understand. I also get back pain. This was not back pain. This was fatigue so bad that I would tell my husband, I wish I could be in hospital. I need to be mothered. I wish someone would take care of me. I wish that someone would cook for me instead of me having to stand at the stove. I would stand at the stove maybe 15 minutes and the pain would be overwhelming. That's not just a backache sometimes. It's not the same. I would feel so weighed down. The fatigue makes you so weighed down that I just felt like I was dying. There were actually times, I think it was obviously when I had a huge flare, I felt like I was dying. And I texted my elders, church elders, was friends with them, and I said, just pray for me. because I can't go to hospital and say, oh, I think I'm dying. I don't have anything specific that I can point to. The pain, we've done MRIs and stuff, so I know, so I thought that there's nothing they can see, and maybe they wouldn't have in trauma. It's not like there's a rheumatologist in trauma, is there? Just, I really hope that you find friends who will listen to you, support you, who will be angry with you at the silly reasons some people give you for why you've got what you've got, and who will support you in trying to find the answer. I really hope that you get good friends, good siblings, whoever they may be. For me, it's friends who will hear you better than any specialist has ever heard you, despite them being paid thousands for it. And I hope you will find the right doctor who will look at you as a person and look at your actual images. That's the most important thing that I want to close with. Please let them look at your images. Ask them to look at your imaging themselves and check that there really is nothing wrong with you. And also tell them any other things that you have, like the anemia is actually apparently common in AS. The gut issues are very common in AS. They were just, for me, random problems. So if you can find a doctor who will look at the whole person, keep them, and please tell us who that person is so that we too can go to that doctor and be seen. And that's what I like to do in my blogs. I will share the positive doctors and name them so that other people know not to, they know who to go to, who will help them. If they can't help them with the problem, at least they will send them to someone who will. Please recommend the good doctors. I will not stop recommending my good doctors. All right. Thank you. And though it wasn't a very nice video. And I hope you got or understood, or you could imagine the frustration of finishing that very long MRI, getting up, limping, and the next day you're told there's nothing wrong with you. It's, you're not crazy, but they act like you are. And if you are there, I'm so sorry. And I know people who have AS who've been told they need to see a psychiatrist. I'm very sorry, and I can relate to that. I spent 12 years in that cycle where people either acted like, or told me there was nothing wrong, or told me it was my fault. Keep the faith. Let's keep strong.